Okay, I added another layer of green paint, another layer of brown paint. Those are the third layers. And I'm finishing up adding a second layer of black just to parts of the grapes. So the parts that I need to have darkest, I'm adding a little bit more black to, because you can see the black is translucent. So it's more of a kind of dark gray, except for these light gray parts are the parts that I made sort of a slight shading. So the underside is the part that I'm going to add a little more black to. This is PBO Porcelain 150 Anthracite Black. They do have other black paints that are opaque, but I was going with a translucent look for this project. So just a hint of that, because I need both hands to do a good job. Okay, something I want to point out that I've been doing that I haven't pointed out yet is if I get black where I don't want it, like that, I can wipe the paint off my paintbrush and then use the dry brush to take the paint off of where I don't want it. Little tip. Okay, now I'm going to add a little more depth to the shading on the leaves by mixing a little bit of the olivine green with the anthracite black, and then paint the shadows on the leaves. Okay, I'm going to add this mixture of black and green. This is just a little bit darker than the plain green. Just kind of add it to the shady side of the leaf. And then I add a little bit more black to the next layers, make it even darker, and then I might do some little tiny bit in straight black on top. This is half anthracite black and half mummy brown, and mix that together. That's a little bit a higher percentage of brown than I did, or black I mean, than I did for the green leaves, which I'm making a more subtle shading, whereas the branches I'm going to make a little bit more obvious. Okay, so I take the half anthracite black, half olivine green mixture, and I paint just the bottom side of these branches that would be more shaded. Then I go back and use straight black on the next one to make the darkest shading. Like that. Now that I've added some black mixed with the green onto the leaves, one coat of that, and black mixed with the brown on the branches, one coat of that. It's given the black around the grapes time to dry, so I'm ready to add some purple. This is amethyst purple in the Porcelain 150. And let's see. This is just going to be a light coat, which will be the lightest color that I'll have on there, because the light purple is going to be the highlight, and then I just keep adding more purple to get the darker colors. Oops, sorry, you can't see that. Let's see. So I just basically just spread that on all over all of the grapes. So that's pretty basic. Also want to point out that when you mix colors like the black and the brown, or the black and the green, that you want to mix very small amounts, because it does not take very much of this paint to paint over the surface. It doesn't soak in or anything, it just sits on the top, so it doesn't take very much paint. And that's all for this episode or video. And we'll get back to finishing shading the leaves, branches, and grapes next time.